Now from Moscow, Dmitry Peskov, Vladimir Putin's right-hand man. Mr. Peskov, thank you for joining us this morning. We heard President Putin yesterday.
Thank you for inviting me.
We heard President Putin yesterday say, read my lips, there was no interference, Russian interference in the U.S. election. As you no doubt know, that read my lips promise here in America was later overtaken by events. Are you confident that President Putin's denials will not be contradicted by new evidence?
We're quite confident. We're confident for 100%. Actually, this campaign we've been saying from the very beginning that it was nothing else but slander, and all those fake news having nothing beneath and having no evidence were nothing else but slander. And that's why we'll continue to suggest to everyone insisting that Russia was interfering in this or that way into domestic affairs of the United States, we will suggest them to read Mr. Putin's lips.
One of the conclusions is that Russia was trying to hurt Hillary Clinton and help Donald Trump. You've said yourself that it's natural that Putin would prefer Trump. Why?
It's very simple. Listen, for example, we have a variety of politicians in every country, and we have variety of politicians in the United States. Some of them are saying that we are in favor of reestablishing good relationship with Russia. We think that we have lots of problems, and we are sure that we will not be able to agree upon everything, but we are sure that we have to have a dialogue with the Russians. This is one flank. The other flank is those who say, no, Russians are our enemy, and we are strictly against any contacts with them, and we don't give a damn about their interests, and we reject any possibility of cooperation, even when it is in our own interests, let's say in a field of combating terror. So which one would be more sympathetic for you? For us, the one who is saying that, yes, we disagree in lots of things, but we're going to talk to Russians.
So President Putin
This one is more sympathetic for us. So the reason is very simple.
So President Putin did prefer Donald Trump?
No, it's not about preferring someone. It's about whose ideas are more close to you and whose ideas are more welcomed in Russian public opinion.
Public opinion here in the United States about President Putin is quite unfavorable. Only 9% of Americans in a recent poll have a favorable opinion of President Putin. Only 9% see Russia as an ally. Is that a problem for President Putin?
It's not a problem, but this is something that we're sorry about again. We understand those figures because for how many months, for more than a year, American audience have been a target for severe anti-Russian propaganda, and they were, of course, they felt victim of that propaganda, and that's why lots of Americans, they do think that yes, Russian hackers are everywhere. Russian hackers are in every fridge. Russian hackers are in every iron, and so on and so forth. But this is not true. Those are fake news, and this is slander.
We heard overnight that General Michael Flynn, President Trump's former national security advisor, is now seeking immunity to talk to the FBI and also the investigating committees in the Congress. His lawyer says he has a story to tell. Are you concerned about anything he might say about his contacts with Russia?
No, we're not. No, we're not. Listen, we insist that any blamings that Russia could have been interfering in domestic affairs of the United States is slander, and it has no evidence at all. Again, well, we understand pretty well that there are some people who doing their best, their utmost, to keep this issue on the agenda. Well, let them do it before the audience is bored and before they change their subject.
It was rather unusual for President Putin not to retaliate after those sanctions were imposed by President Obama, because he following the conclusions that Russia did interfere in our elections. Did that failure to retaliate have anything to do with the message that General Flynn gave to Ambassador Kislyak?
Well, Listen, sanctions or issue of lifting sanctions or imposing sanctions, any promises could not be an issue of those contacts, because none of them, neither Ambassador Kislyak nor General Flynn, could have been involved in decision making. So any exchange of view, I don't know. Naming sanctions, let's remember the let's say the decisions that were taken by the then administration during their last days in the White House. Extradition of Russian diplomats, I would even say occupation of Russian diplomatic property in New York and Washington. This is something that was never seen in diplomatic affairs in the world for lots and lots of decades. Let's imagine a property of the Russian Federation covered with diplomatic immunity was occupied by American Secret Service agents. I mean, well, is it friendly? I'm afraid no. I'm afraid not. And it's not friendly. It's not legal in terms of international law. So, of course, it was a very significant damage for our bilateral relations, organized as a farewell party by the then administration in Washington.
If we're at the lowest point in history, that means we're in a new Cold War.
New Cold War? Well, maybe even worse. Maybe even worse, taking into account actions of the present presidential administration.
Worse than the Cold War?
Well, of course. I've been just saying about this illegal actions against Russian property in Washington and New York, about extraditing Russian diplomats and all that stuff.
Finally, how can U.S.-Russia relations get back on track?
I think if two presidents meet each other, if they exchange views, and if they decide that they want to reestablish a dialogue, then there will be a chance for our bilateral relations to get better.
Mr. Peskov, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure.